Graduate student clinicians at Mississippi University for Women, and my name is Amelia Strickland, and these are my classmates.
Georgia Bolin,
Melissa Luke,
Whitney Fallon.
And today we're going to discuss ways to prevent language delays, as well as how to encourage language development in your preschooler.
What is a language delay? A language delay is a communication disorder. A language delay occurs when a child is developing language, but it is at a slower rate than expected for the child's age. In other words, the child is not meeting the language developmental milestones for his or her age. A language delay can involve a hearing, speech, or language impairment. It can even be a combination of those. Language and speech disorders are common. What is a milestone? Developmental milestones are behaviors or physical skills seen in infants and children as they grow and develop. Rolling over, crawling, walking, and talking are all considered milestones. The milestones are different for each age range. There's a normal range in which a child may reach each milestone. For example, walking may begin as early as 8 months in some children. Others may walk as late as 18 months, and it's still considered normal. One of the reasons for well-child visits to the healthcare provider in the early years is to follow your child's development. Most parents also watch for different milestones. Talk to your child's provider if you have concerns about your child's development. Closely watching a checklist or calendar of developmental milestones may trouble parents if their child is not developing normally. At the same time, milestones can help to identify a child who needs a more detailed checkup. Research has shown that the sooner the developmental services are started, the better the outcome. Examples of developmental services include speech therapy, physical therapy, and developmental preschool.
There are two types of language delays. Language delays may be receptive, expressive, or a combination of both. A receptive language problem occurs when a child has difficulty understanding language. An expressive language disorder occurs when the child has difficulty expressing himself or herself. As you can see, the child on the left is speaking, therefore using expressive language. The child on the right is listening, using receptive language.
What causes a language delay? There are many possible causes for language delays in children, and in some instances, more than one factor contributes to the delay, such as hearing impairments, autism spectrum disorder, psychosocial factors, and intellectual disabilities. Hearing impairment. It is common for children who have a hearing impairment to also have a language impairment. In very young children, a hearing impairment may be overlooked. If a child cannot hear language, learning how to communicate will be difficult for the child. Autism. Although not all children with autism have language delays, it frequently affects communication. Psychosocial factors. Several psychosocial issues can cause language delays. For example, severe neglect can lead to problems with language development. Intellectual disabilities. Various intellectual disabilities can also cause language delays. For instance, learning disabilities such as dyslexia may cause language delays in some cases.
Symptoms of a language delay involve a failure to reach language milestones at the normal age. Symptoms vary depending on the age of the child and the severity of the delay. Some of the symptoms to look for regarding a language delay include not babbling by the age of 15 months, not talking by age 2, an inability to speak in short sentences by age 3, difficulty following directions, poor pronunciation or articulation, difficulty putting words together in a sentence, and leaving words out of a sentence. Some of the milestones that should be seen from age 2 to 3 include identifying body parts, carrying on a conversation with self or dolls, asking, "What's that?" or "Where's my?" Form some plurals by adding the final S, gives first name, holding up fingers to tell age, combines nouns and verbs such as mommy go, understands simple time concepts such as last night or tomorrow, refers to self as me rather than by their name, tries to get adults' attention by saying, "Watch me." talks to other children as well as adults, answers where questions, names common pictures and things, uses short sentences like "me want more" or "me want cookie," and matches 3 to 4 colors and knows the difference between big and little. Some milestones that should be achieved between the ages of 3 and 4 include they can tell a story, they have this full sentence length of 4 to 5 words, have a vocabulary of nearly 1,000 words, they can name at least one color, they begin to obey requests like put the block under the chair, and they know his or her last name, name of the street in which he or she lives on, and several nursery rhymes.
Here we have several activities to encourage language development for ages 2 to 3. Some examples are repeat new words over and over. This can be done by incorporating new words into the child's everyday routine. Help your child listen and follow instructions. This can be done by playing games such as pick up the ball or touch daddy's nose. Take your child on trips and talk about what you see before, during, and after the trip. Let your child tell you answers to simple questions. Oftentimes we ask the child a simple question and do not give the child ample opportunity to respond. This communication is important in the child's language development. Read books every day, perhaps as part of a bedtime routine. You must listen attentively as your child talks to you. It is important to engage in conversation with your child. It is common to see a child wanting to have a conversation with a parent, but unfortunately the parent is so engrossed in other activities such as cell phone that the child receives no interaction with his parent. Describe what you are doing, planning, and thinking. This can be accomplished by simply involving your child in activities around the house such as cooking, cleaning, and doing laundry. Have the child deliver simple messages for you. These simple messages include sentences such as, "Mommy needs you, Daddy." Carry on conversations with the child. This is preferably done when the two of you have some quiet time together and are able to focus on each other's portion of the conversation. Ask questions to get your child to think and talk. Questions may include, "What did you do at school today?" "What did you do at recess today?" Or you may ask them what they ate for lunch, etc. Show the child you understand what he or she says. This is accomplished by answering, smiling, and or nodding your head. You may also expand upon what the child says. If he or she says more juice, you may say, "Adam wants more juice."
Now we have some activities to encourage language in ages 3 to 4. You can talk about how objects are the same or different. This can be accomplished by having a variety of objects for the child to play with. For example, if your child loves to play with balls, you can have a variety of colors and sizes, then discuss the differences in the toys. You may also set rewards for your child. For example, if your child correctly describes or shows you a certain ball, let him play with it. Help your child tell stories using books and pictures. You can do this by reading to your child. Reading is very important in language development. Let your child play with other children. Interaction with peers is a crucial part of language development also. Read longer stories to your child. Reading longer stories will not only engage them in conversation with you regarding the story, but it will expose them to new vocabulary, therefore increasing their lexicon. Pay attention to your child when he's talking. This goes back to what we discussed in the previous age category. Be thankful that your child wants to have a conversation with you. Put down the phone, email, iPad, etc., and talk directly with your child. Talk about going places you've been or will be going. Children love to discuss their experiences, especially if it is a vacation they have recently attended. Ask them to tell you their favorite part of the vacation or activity they have recently been involved in and expand on their answers.
There are several ways to prevent language delays. Here are a few that are listed. Read, read, read. It is so important that you read to your child early and often. This is an easy way to help your child develop language skills. Center language around activities such as bath time, bedtime, or mealtime, etc. Everyday activities can become ample opportunities to talk to your child. Use clear, simple speech that can easily be modeled by your child. Give your child the opportunity to respond to you. Don't just talk at them. Play rhyming games with your child, helping them notice the beginning and ending sounds of words. Acknowledge, encourage, and praise all attempts to speak. Sing songs to your child. Answer any questions your child may ask you. Expand your child's vocabulary by naming body parts and their functions, such as, "This is my nose. I use it to smell." Sing songs and recite nursery rhymes to reinforce the patterns of speech.
Going somewhere? The car is a great place to practice speech and language skills and strategies. Take advantage of time spent in the car by playing some fun language-based games. It is not common for most preschool children to be still, so take advantage of this time. Here are some fun games that you can play in the car with your child. These games will not only entertain your child, but also reinforce language skills. Here are some examples. A fun game to play is categories. To play this game, one player chooses a category such as animals. Every player takes a turn naming an item in the category. If a player repeats a word or is unable to name a word in the category, he or she is out. You can also play rhyming games in the car. To practice phonological awareness skills, children can practice creating rhymes for things they see from the car window or in the environment around them. For example, if a child chooses the word tree, other players must name some rhyming words. For example, knee, see, me. The player who gives the most rhymes is the winner. You can also play cities and syllables. As you pass through different towns, cities, or states, children can practice counting the number of syllables in that city or state's name. For example, when passing through Idaho, the child counts or claps out 3 syllables. When passing through Tallahassee, the child claps out 4 syllables. Also, if your vehicle is equipped with a DVD player, choose age-appropriate DVDs to show children in the car. As the movie or program plays, pause and ask questions such as, "Who is that character? What do you think is going to happen next? Where does this story take place? When does this story take place? How do you think this character feels? And how can you tell? When was the time that you may have felt this way? Who is your favorite character and why?" Also, you may ask them what their favorite part of the movie was. At the end of the film, have your child retell the story to another person in the car. Make sure that they include characters, settings, chronological events, and a conclusion. There are also many educational apps that you may have your child play while they are in the car. The links to these games have been provided for you if you would like to check out this free resource for yourself.
Because most TV shows do not allow children to respond or interact, they are not ideal for building language. It is important to limit the amount of time your child spends watching television or playing computer games. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends that children younger than 2 years of age not watch TV, and that children 2 years and older should watch no more than 2 hours of TV a day. Find educational programs that allow your child a chance to respond, such as Sesame Street. Consider establishing and monitoring screen time limits for your child at a young age. This is a sample chart that allows a parent to keep up with the amount of time each child spends watching television, playing on the computer, playing video games, playing handheld games, playing with smartphones, or watching DVDs per week. Setting limits at a young age will help keep children from developing poor technology habits, which can affect learning and language development. In addition to limiting and monitoring screen time, think about implementing a reading reward system with your child at a young age. Preschoolers can benefit from a reading rewards program even if they aren't readers. Children will develop print awareness skills. That means they will understand how to hold a book and that we read from left to right and top to bottom. They will also develop an attention span for silent reading time, which is good preparation for school. Young children can look at and interpret pictures before they are able to read. Encourage your child to ask questions about pictures and ask them questions about pictures, like, "Where do you think he's going?" or what kind of animal is that? Rewards for reading can be simple and inexpensive. You could buy your child a book to add to their library, take your child to the playground, or offer screen time tickets for older children to use for watching TV or playing video games.
Preschool is a very important time in your child's life, so this is the perfect time to get involved, stay in communication with your child's teacher, discuss how language and communication are reinforced in the classroom so that you may continue this at home. Stay up to date with language concepts that your child is learning in class so that you may reinforce these at home also. Ask your child's teacher how your child communicates with his or her peers.
Okay, so as your child enters preschool, there are some activities that you can do. You can use simple language with your child, which involves making eye contact with them when you talk. You can also speak in short, simple sentences and repeat new words that you use. When you simplify your language, you help your toddler use language correctly and learn new words. Tell your child stories about real events. When you tell your child stories, you help them to understand the ingredients that go into the stories, such as a setting, characters, plot, and dialogue. Knowing how stories are built with your child helps your child to understand the story that he hears. Read different kinds of books to your child. When you vary read aloud choices, you introduce your child to books containing information about many topics. Try reading nonfiction books about animals, also reading ABC books and rhyming books. Many children pick favorites to hear over and over again. Show your toddler the letters in her name. Looking at letters with a parent helps the child to learn the letters. Start with your child's name to help her understand that letters and words represent people, and then point out letters wherever you go to help her connect them to places and objects. Keep crayons within easy reach. Toddlers begin to learn to write by scribbling and making marks on paper. Their scribbles eventually become letters, and when you keep markers, crayons, and paper handy, this promotes their language development. Okay. Is reading beneficial in preventing a language delay? Yes. Reading is important because language is the foundation for literacy. Even though preschool children are still developing language, reading is very important. When you read to your toddler, you help them learn about new words and concepts, letters, and about the way the printed words work. Reading to your toddler, talking about books as much as possible, and providing many opportunities to experiment with writing will help them get ready to read, all while developing those good language skills. So here we have a list of our resources that were used during today's presentation. Feel free to copy the links and use them as you see fit, and also the handout that we provided you with is also a good source of information. And we also recommend ASHA.org. It's a wonderful and reliable source for information on ways to prevent language delays.